stitches in my Motorola, and I'm speeding like I robbed someone. Falling and I'm a whip, yeah. Out in fat, going hard in the pit, yeah. I still ball on the pitch, yeah. Something wrong with the picture. Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. Why you need to...
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Just Taz here, and please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And today, as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about my wisdom teeth removal, my experience, and just tips and stuff to help you guys prepare for it if you haven't done it yet, if you have to have it done, and all. So I ended up for my wisdom teeth having to do all 4, and then I had a tooth that was coming out of my gums that didn't come into place, so I had that one taken out. So in total I had 5 teeth taken out in one sitting. Yeah, that was real fun. So I'm gonna just give you guys the lay down. Is it lay down or low down? It might be low down. Shh. It's definitely low down. I'm gonna go with low down. I don't know why I said lay down. Pineapple cranberry juice, great vibe. But yes, so like I said, I'll give you guys a lowdown and my experience and just tips and tricks and stuff like that. So let's get into this video. All right guys, so first I'm gonna just talk about my experience. So my experience is that I went twice actually. So the first time I went, my blood pressure was way too high. It was like 161 over 116, which is really bad, including for someone my age that has no history so much, except in the recent months. Like, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure back in June, and I never had high blood pressure before that. No one in my family has high blood pressure, nothing. Like, it came out of nowhere, basically. So, the day that I went to go do it, it didn't even dawn on me because I was already so worried from the night before. You're supposed to fast the night before, so you're not supposed to eat past midnight or drink water or anything, have anything in your system if you're doing full sedation, which I was, because I got all 4 of my wisdom teeth taken out, and I got another tooth that was in my gums that would not come down. And I'm at the x-ray here, so you see what I mean, and you see the teeth. That was in my last video. So that was that, and I was fully put under. They started me with laughing gas because I'm afraid of needles, can't do it. I hate IVs with a burning passion. So I would take my mind really based off of them putting the IV in my arm. So I had both, and it was okay. I wasn't too worried until they started taking my blood pressure, which I don't know why I didn't say to them before, hey, you have to take my blood pressure in advance because if it's too high, I can't do the procedure, obviously. And I was diagnosed with high blood pressure back in June, but I was so nervous, didn't even come across my mind. So I had to be rushed to the doctor and all, and they put me back on my blood pressure medication, refill my prescription, stuff like that, just to get me back on track with my high blood pressure. So I did not have the procedure that day, but I went again, and after I had to get cleared by my doctor to be able to do the procedure, that it was okay for them to do it as long as I'm on my medication, I'm on certain things. So then after I got cleared, the day I got cleared, I made a phone call and I said, when's the next appointment you have available? Because at that point my teeth were hurting me, and it wasn't even my wisdom teeth, it was actually the tooth that was coming out of my gums that was bothering me. So I called, I made an appointment for like, I think it was like 3 weeks later. So cool. Now we're gonna fast forward 3 weeks. So since all my paperwork is already filled out, everything's already done at that point, it was just to put me under to go. So the first thing that they do is hook me up to the machine, ask me if I took my medication that day, which I did, and they hooked me up to the machine, and my blood pressure was still very high, but with the clearance from my doctor and the fact that it wasn't as high as before, it was like high, but not too high, basically, is really what it was. And they let me go about the procedure because my blood pressure at that point was half, basically, of what that was, the top number at least. So my blood pressure the second day I went was 136 over 109, I believe, something like that. Like, it was in that ballpark. So I said it was still really high, but I still took my medication. I probably took it at that point like an hour before, because that was when I'm supposed to take it. So I did that, and it was okay. I was scared because, again, I had to fast again. I'm afraid of needles. I hate sedation. I hate it all. I've only been put under, I want to say, 3 times in my life, probably. And it was annoying. No, that's my 3rd time. It was twice before that, because when I had brain surgery, I was put under, and when I had mouth surgery when I was younger, I was put under. But it never gets easier, honestly. So I did that, and honestly, it was boom, boom, boom. Like, I was put under, they're like, count backwards from 10. 10, 9, I was knocked out with the laughing gas and the sedation up my arm and an IV. I was knocked out cold, couldn't tell you. I was woken up probably an hour later, and I looked like this. Props to my mom and boyfriend for documenting the pictures of afterwards and the aftermath. So you have to sit there for a little while afterwards because obviously you've been heavily sedated, and it was just a lot. Like, I don't remember a damn thing. I'm gonna just keep putting clips in here of me looking crazy, the aftermath, but it's actually pretty funny, I feel like. So it was really cool. But that is that, and it's like, wow. Honestly, it went by. Like, I thought it would have been so much harder. I thought it would have been anything. It really wasn't too bad, the procedure-wise. Afterwards, oh my God, I felt like I was in hell. The recovery, I felt like I was in hell. It's not even because, like, it's not even because I was in pain, because I was in pain, but it was like, it wasn't that bad. I was in more pain before I had the surgery than I was after. But they give you a whole bunch of medications, honestly, because they give you an antibacterial, an antiviral, so you don't get, like, infected, or if it does, they'll fight it and everything. It's to avoid infection. So I had that, and the medication I had to take was, I had one that was once a day that was really strong, and then I had one that I take 3 times a day, and on top of that I was taking my blood pressure medication, which I take 4 times a day, and then I also, for my headaches, I take a very strong ibuprofen. So I was taking a lot of medication at once. So honestly, not gonna hold you, I was real high during this recovery, not gonna hold you. But if I forgot, or I was like delayed even like 10 minutes, an hour, sit here, take my medication, boy, oh boy, I felt it. I felt it. Oh, it was so irritating. But it was really cool, because as long as you, honestly, in my opinion, as long as I took my medication, I was okay. I wasn't in so much pain. I feel like the one downside is that you can't eat solid foods for a week. And I wanted everything under the sun. I was stuck eating mashed potatoes for 3 days. Like, it was so bad. And then I gave up and I started eating hard food because I couldn't do it. But honestly, the first day, I ate nothing. After the procedure, I ate nothing. I literally took my medication and went to sleep, I think. Yeah, that's basically about it. Then I woke up crying because it was time for my medication, and I was feeling it. I was feeling the pain and all. It was terrible. So that was that. But after the first couple of days of eating mashed potatoes, then I ate like tilapia. Like, you're allowed to eat like really soft foods after the first 2 days of like just eating like ice cream and yogurt and stuff like that. I'm not a soup person, a yogurt person, unless it's Greek yogurt. Like, I'm a very picky eater. So it was really hard for me because my mom would come home with like yogurt and this, that, and the other. I'm like, I don't eat that. Why are you? She was like, why are you being picky? This is not the time. It's like, yes, it is. The time is any time I want it to be picky. And I could not talk. I literally did not talk for a week. That was also a really bad part. I could not talk. That's how like big my face was, but I did all 4 in the 5th one. So imagine not being able to move your mouth. I don't know if it's different just because if you do all 4 teeth, but because I did the front one, which is right here, my lip was like out here. I'm adding in pictures here because y'all need to see this. So it was just really bad. I didn't talk, couldn't do anything. So I literally was like typing on my iPad or something just to let them know. I used Google Translate. It was really funny because the way Google says certain things, like, it was just hilarious. It was a great time. So I don't know. The medication made me really high. I was high the whole week. But I did lose 15 pounds because I didn't eat and I couldn't really eat. There wasn't really anything like too crazy. So that's pretty bad actually, because you're supposed to only lose 10 pounds in a month. So I lost 15 pounds in a week and a half. But we're not going to talk about it. I couldn't swallow, I couldn't chew, I couldn't do anything. So that really has to do with that. But that's my experience in anything. If you guys want to talk about your experiences, put that in the comments. If you want me to expand on any of my experiences, let you guys know. I will definitely do that in the comments as well. And yeah, so next are some tips and tricks you need to know before you go in. I wish someone told me these tricks before I went in there. So here we go. All right, so some certain things you need to know. One, you need to have a designated driver when you're at the procedure that has to sit there and wait for you, because you're not able to drive because you're still sedated and you're on a bunch of medication afterwards. So you legitimately can't drive. Or I couldn't even keep my eyes open, to be honest. So I can't even imagine someone trying to drive after the fact. That's just nuts. I wouldn't be able to. I literally could not even sit up straight. This is how I looked like literally afterwards. So that explains that. So I don't even know what to say about it, to be honest. But so definitely bring somebody with you. I brought 2 people with me, so my mom wasn't so like stir crazy of just waiting for me, because she worries a lot because of my medical history. So that's a little interesting. So my boyfriend went with her too. So that was really fun. And I don't know. This is my reaction to them after I had the surgery, because they were both so annoying and I wanted to just go home and go to sleep. That says a lot. But yeah, so I wish someone told me that, which they actually do. If you look it up like before, and if you're anal like me about that, then that's one thing that they will always tell you, is to definitely do that. All right, so number 2 is definitely, if they just say that they'll give you a local anesthetic, I would say to definitely ask about your options for sedation, because like me, I have like a lot of anxiety about being at a doctor or being put under. Once you say you're putting me under, I'm gonna start freaking out, because I don't like needles. So the fact that I was awake when they sedated my mouth, like gave me the local anesthetic, and then they had to put it, I felt everything. I was so like stir crazy, and my blood pressure definitely went up. So if you're like that and you're not like a person that's like sit still, won't like moan and groan when anything's happening to you, including if you don't like blood too, I would just say to be sedated, because I hate blood. I don't like needles. Like, I needed to be sedated. There was no way that the procedure would successfully happened if I was awake. And I know people that have done it like fully awake, just local anesthetic. Like my cousin did it, local anesthetic, that's it. He's a brave man, because I could never, never be able to do that. And I thought they were gonna make me do that just because of what happened to me previously about my blood pressure being so high. So I was really scared about that, but it ended up being okay. And so yeah, always look into options of sedation or local anesthetic. Sometimes they'll do both. Sometimes they'll just do one. It also depends on your insurance plan. Also see what covers what. And that's something you really need to know. I would go in knowing what your insurance covers, so it saves the people at the reception desk time from calling your insurance, finding out what they cover and all. And that's a really big thing to do, just so it's easier. I learned that the hard way. We sat in the office for an extra hour, just having them on the phone with my insurance to figure out if they cover the local anesthetic or just the sedation, or vice versa. So that was really interesting. And yeah, tip number 3, boy oh boy, I wish someone told me not to try and take out these gauzes. Like, I felt like afterwards I was literally choking on the gauzes, and I think after like 30 minutes I got fed up with the one that was in front of my mouth. But again, if you don't have, not everyone's gonna have the same experience, because it was in front of my mouth. The gauze is literally like right here. I'm gonna insert a picture, and I literally went boop, and I started bleeding harder. So it was really bad. Just know, be careful with the gauzes. And when they say to leave it in, leave it in, because I believe you have to leave it in for about an hour afterwards, and then you have to change them and do stuff like that. But also don't take them out. That's it. Point blank, period. Do not take them out before the time you're supposed to. That's all I have to say, because that's really bad. All right, guys, this is a big one. Ice, 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 ice. You need to ice, because honestly, it just makes the whole healing process like a little bit faster. And I found it so helpful. Like, you ice 15 minutes off, 15 minutes off. And that's really that. Like, you just need to ice. I can't stress enough how important that is for you to ice, because it just helps the process faster. And honestly, the cooling sensation is so much better, like here, and you're so puffy and big that it just makes it feel better. And most doctors, they give you like a thing to go over your head. I'm gonna insert a picture of it right there. That's an ice pack or two. So that was really cool. I like that, and that was honestly the best thing for me while I was recovering, was the icing. And I'm a big person on rice, rest, ice, compress, and elevate. So that's for everything else of my body, but you can't, I don't know, I kind of applied it to my head too, and my teeth. Just kept my head up, iced, and all, and the compression was the thing coming close. And I slept, I rested. So that's a big one, is definitely ice. I would say add rice in there too. I'm gonna put what it stands for down here. And yeah, so that's a big. Okay, so another big thing is stick to soft foods the first couple days. The first day, you're most likely not really gonna wanna eat anything. I know that I didn't have an appetite, but I don't know if that's true with a lot of people. So I didn't really eat anything, but the first couple days, stick to soft foods. It's gonna be easier, including if you get all 4 teeth taken out. Stick to solid foods that you just have to swallow and not have to chew at all. But if you get like one side, you can chew on the other side, and if you get 1 or 2, you can just chew in other places that the teeth weren't distracted from. So for people that are getting 4 taken out, stick with solid foods that you just swallow. Honestly, it's the best thing to do, at least for the first couple days. And yeah, that's really it. And also avoid straws at all costs, because of sucking motion, you could take out like the filling and stuff that it is that you're like healing in the places that you took the teeth out. So do not use straws, at least for, I didn't start using straws until like 2 weeks after the fact, to be honest with you. And I was even scared to do that, just because I just didn't want the stuff to come out and the healing to be longer, because I wanted to eat and get it over with, including Thanksgiving was coming up, so I just didn't want to take a chance. So listen to the doctor and listen when they say don't use a straw, because that is very important. I'm also not going to stress enough that you need to rest. Like, there is a reason why they excused me for school for a week. And honestly, that first week, I needed the rest. I needed to not think about anything else. He has to put me a little further back for stuff for school, but you need to rest. Like, I can't stress that enough, because that is a big part of you getting healthy after the fact also, is the fact that you rest and just sleep. Make sure you take your medicine and just ice, honestly, because you need to. Your body heals in a way that all of them together, by resting, icing, and just relaxing and not really thinking about anything else, is definitely gonna make the healing process faster. And I stayed home for about 4 days post-op, just so my mom could take care of me and stuff, because I do live by myself on campus. So when I thought I was okay to actually take care of myself at that point, that I knew the times that I take my medicine, I knew the foods I could only eat and stuff like that, I decided to come back to school and finish up the week of me resting here, which wasn't too bad actually. And me being by myself was okay. My mom just wasn't breathing down my neck like moms do, because you know, when they're worried and all. So that was fine. It wasn't really too bad. So yeah, please rest, and rest as much as you can. Please take that week. Like, they will excuse you from school, and you need that time for a reason. So I cannot stress that enough, that you need to rest. Okay? But guys, that is all I have for you today, and I hope you guys take my experience. I hope you guys take my tips as well, and think about this before you go into surgery or think about getting your wisdom teeth taken out, just because it is a very big thing to do. I feel like just because you have to do a week of rest, you're taking out teeth, and surgery in the head is not fun at all. Trust me, this is my 3rd time doing any type of surgical precision in my head area. It's not fun. Just remember to rice and rest. Rest is number 1 for rice. Rest, ice, elevate. I said that backwards. It's fine though. Y'all got what I mean. Rest, ice, compress, and elevate. That's what I meant to say. But it's okay. I tried doing something cute, didn't really work out. But guys, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment on all my posts and videos, and follow me on my socials, and I got some good videos for you guys next up. So I'm gonna catch y'all later, and I hope you guys have a great day. It's almost finals, baby. If you guys are in college, we're almost there. It's almost Thanksgiving. It's almost Christmas. It's gonna be a great time. You guys are in the home stretch. In the home stretch, remember that. Remember, you are blessed, and have a great day. Bye, guys.